Hi families, I just wanted to show you a little bit more about what is in the packet that you have received. It's a very thick kindergarten packet. It seems very overwhelming, but I want to break it down for you, just show you exactly what you need to do, what is supposed to be turned in, and kind of show you a way that I would organize it that might really help if I was homeschooling my child at home. Okay, here we go. Okay, so when you get your packet and unwrap it, it should look like this. I may have mixed up the first few pages because I had already unwrapped it and taken a look. But in there you have a daily schedule. It gives you a suggested pacing for what to do every day. The most important things to do are your 30 minutes of reading and writing, the ELA, and I'll walk you through that, the 30 minutes of math, the science and social studies. There are suggestions in there that is optional. You won't be turning anything in from there or anything in from PE and ELD. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and set this paper aside because I don't need it right now. This is an introductory paper to the families that just has more information. There are some online resources in here in case you want to take a look, some reading bingo, and some poetry if you'd like to practice that. This is all optional. I'm going to set it aside. I don't need to turn that in right now. Okay, this whole packet right here are resources for you. Phonics, letters, and word games. There are suggestions for games you can play with your child. Pieces to the game are here and here and here. But then when you get to this page, I'm actually going to go ahead and take apart this bit of the packet. If you printed your packet, obviously it won't be stapled, but if you picked it up from the district, your packet's going to be stapled. I'm going to take apart this first few pages. Okay, I'm going to set those aside. And these are all my picture words. They're going to go with the alphabet book, which I will show you in a bit. So I'm going to flip until I get to the end of the pictures. And, oh, there we go. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and separate this whole chunk of pictures from the packet and set that to the side because I'm going to be putting that with something else later, okay? These are some CVC words. CVC means consonant, vowel, consonant. These can be used with some of the phonics games that were suggested, or you can also just use them for additional practice yourself. Just a really quick lesson for blending. This is what we do in kindergarten. I would have the students say the individual sound, d, a, d, and then I would put my finger underneath, say blend, and they would put them together. D, ad, dad. One more. Ad, ad, had. Okay? A lot of our kindergartners are already past this, but a lot of them still need work on it. So these are some additional resources. I'm going to go ahead and put those aside. They do not need to be turned in. And we also have some letter flashcards. Okay. Again, most of the kindergartners in our class know all their letters, so you're not going to need these unless you would like your child to have some additional practice with those. I'm going to set those aside. Okay? Set everything aside there. My next little packet is some more games and suggestions of things to do with sight words. The sight words they have included here are just our basic 30 kindergarten sight words. A lot of kids in the class have already mastered these. If this is you, then don't worry about using these. But if your child is still working on them, then please go ahead and use them. There's some great suggestions of games on there. I'm going to set them aside right now because this does not need to be turned in. All right, we have finally made it through to the first part of the packet that has to be turned in. This is the kindergarten alphabet book, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and pull this aside. And remember these pictures that we separated? These go together, okay? So let me show you what you're going to do with this real quick. The kindergarten alphabet book, they're suggesting you do 1 page a day. This is just a page that shows you all of our sound spelling cards that we use in class. And then you're going to have every letter of the alphabet with 3 boxes, okay? Your child can cut out 3 pictures that start with the letter A, and you're going to remind them to say the sound that the letter makes. A says what? Apple, ant. Choose 3 pictures to cut and paste. And then they can either write a sentence about the words that they chose, or they can simply sound out and write the word. The key here is that you are helping your kindergartners to practice sound spelling. So you don't want to be sounding anything out. You don't want to be spelling anything for them. If they choose apple, they're going to cut and paste the apple and put it in there. And since they are practicing their spelling, they're going to spell it phonetically. Some kindergartners might do this. Apple. Apple. I hear apple. That's okay. That is phonetically correct. Okay? You have the option of just having your kindergartner write the words, or you can encourage them to write a whole sentence. You can ask them leading questions. What do you know about an apple? How about the apple is red? Oh, I know sight word the. T-H-E spells the. I'm going to use my finger space. Apple. Finger space is, I know that sight word, and finger space red is also a sight word, but that can also be sounded out. Red. I would remind my kindergartner to use their 5-star writing and put ending punctuation. Okay? You're going to do 3 pictures and either 3 words or 3 sentences. It's really up to you. Okay? That is our alphabet book. What I did is I created some cover sheets to make this a little bit easier to organize. I will be sending these all to you. So when I was if I were organizing this myself, I would take this whole alphabet book and I would take my cover sheet and I would either just staple them together and keep this with it, paper clipped, or if you happen to have some old folders lying around, as you can see this one's from Sac State, it's old, I might put my alphabet book inside with the actual book on one side and the pictures on the other, and either glue, paste, or simply staple the cover to the top so that you know what you're working with. Okay? I left it black and white so that your child can color it in if they'd like to. Okay? Now I know this is something I have to work on every day and I have to turn in because I have a cover sheet and it's in a folder. I'm going to put that aside. Okay? This is the next thing that you are going to have to turn in. This is our kindergarten handwriting book. Okay? The front page has the directions for how to correctly form each letter, and it also has that again within each page. Okay? I do suggest watching your kindergartner to see how they are forming the letters. We do encourage that they always start at the top of the letter and they pull down and you follow the arrows. It ultimately shows that kids who properly write their letters will write faster and neater in the long run. Okay? You want to make sure they're staying within the lines, not doing anything funky like this. That's not okay. I tell them no floating letters. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see super long tails. I want them to start on the dot, pull down, and if they're not supposed to pick up their pencil, then make sure they're not picking it up. Okay? So you can either have them rush through this, or you can help them to make sure they are really forming their letters correctly. Okay? That is A through Z. That it has to be turned in. I also made a cover page for this so that you remember that it has to be turned in. All right, now I have my alphabet book and my handwriting book. I know I need to work on those every day. Here's the next thing that you have to turn in. It's the kindergarten journal. There are enough pages in here for your kindergartner to be writing and drawing a picture every day. However, there's not a lot of space to write. So I have taken the liberty to find some extra writing paper for you. This is a writing page that we use in class. It's really great because it has a checklist on the top that reminds our kindergartners of all the things that they should be doing to be 5-star writers. Spaces between words, capital letters at the beginning, neat writing, ending punctuation, picture matching the words. Okay, it has a little bit more space. And if that's still not enough, there's also another page that's a full page of writing if you would like to attach that to the back of your writing for the day. Okay, that is an option for you that I will be attaching to the email. Okay, so here's the kindergarten journal. I've also created a cover page for this one. It has our 5-star writer chant on it so that you can say this with your kindergartner and help remind them of all the things that make them 5-star writers. Okay, so again, I would put this on top and stick this inside my folder. Okay, I know I need to do this every day and turn that in. We have now arrived at the math portion of the packet, okay? This first packet has a cover page with some information. It has a guide for what your child will be doing every day. And then this packet, the rest of it is resources. None of this is going to be turned in, okay? I'm just going to show you quickly what is in here. You have some really great YouTube recommendations. You have a hundreds chart. You have math conversation directions, which I'll get to when we look at the schedule. Kindergarten math activities. There's a whole checklist of fun things that your kindergartner can do to do math kind of in everyday life. Math doesn't have to be just paper pencil, especially in kindergarten. It's really good for them to do some things that are hands-on so they see math in their world. Okay, and that is that packet. I'm going to set that aside because this is not being turned in. Okay, here we go. Here is our weekly packets. This is really nice that the math packets are organized week by week, and at the beginning of each week there is a schedule for what to do. Okay, so you just look at Monday. There's a different activity for counting on the hundreds chart. Even if this does seem easy, this is very important practice for kindergartners. Don't skip the counting. Count from 1 to 20 on the hundreds chart. Then you see they're starting at 5 and counting to 20 on the hundreds chart. That is a kindergarten standard, being able to count on from a given number. Okay, and it gets more complicated as the weeks goes on. Number of the day, you just put the number right there. Number is 10. You write it in tens and ones. And I will go over this in more detail in a different video. The math problems are our word problems. They are a little bit tricky, so this is not an independent. This is not independent for your kindergartner. Most kindergartners will need help with this. You'll have to help them read it, and you may even have to break it down for them. Number writing, we have that back here. Pick numbers to write and trace and count, draw, tally, build. Math conversation. So for these two pieces, the math conversation and the daily activity, those were in here in this packet, and I can go over that some more in a later video. Okay, so for these, because each week is broken down week by week, I happen to have a binder lying around, and I went ahead and 3-hole punched this, and I wanted to stick these into a binder since there's a little bit more there. Thought I would stick these in the binder, and then I could pull each one out day by day as my kid was working on it, and then I could stick the math resources on the inside. And once again, there is a cover page for you to go ahead and print out and stick on whatever you are organizing your packets with. Okay, all right, so that's another one. The math packets again have to be done, so I'm putting them aside in a folder. Okay. All right, there's history, social science. I'm not going to go over this. This is optional. It's not required for your kindergartner, so you can do it if you'd like to as enrichment, but I am not going to go over that today. Okay, Zender Ranch has come out with a couple of its own packets as well. We have a kindergarten listening comprehension packet. This is actually really great. It has 5 stories, so 1 story per week. And as you can see on here, it has instructions for what you do day 1 reading the story and day 2. Okay, so I also made a cover page for this one because there are some, it is nice to keep it in here all together, and there are questions for you to answer. Okay. There we go, there's that, and there's my cover page. Okay. Last is another Zender Ranch specific one, a reading fluency packet. It has Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday instructions for what to do every day. It has, as you can see, week 1 right here. Here's my sight words. Here's my words I'm going to practice blending. And here is the reading that I'm going to do with the sight words underlined, and the words that are not underlined are to be blended. A, n, t, and f, at, fat. Okay? There's 5 weeks worth of reading fluency in there. Okay? This is not something that needs to be written on or completed, so I have not made a cover page for that, but it is a very valuable tool as well. Okay? So in summary, what you need to be doing with your kindergartner and turning in is the alphabet book, the handwriting book, your journal writing, your math packets, and the listening comprehension packet from Send and Rich. Okay? All right, I hope that breaks it down for you a little bit more. Again, about half of that packet is resources. It's only about half that actually needs to be completed and turned in. I hope that makes things a little bit clearer for you all, and I'll see you soon. Bye.